What's going on, Failroaders? I'm Joshua Thomas, and I'm here to explain some Final Fantasy VII Magic the Gathering cards, and in this video we're specifically going to be looking at some of the main characters who are also heroes in this video game. This is one of the largest compilations that Final Fantasy has, having many more games and books and other things involved with it. And I got the Commander's Collector's deck, so there's plenty for us to talk about. It's also something that I'm well versed on. And the first thing I've got to say is that if you get the Commander's deck, well, the information that's held within this pamphlet that comes with it, it's kind of very spoilery. If you read the description that's in here of Cloud Strife, there's Tifa right there. But it pretty much tells you most of the game, what it has to do with his story. So read it at your own risk. You can read Tifa's story. It's not really that spoilery, but Cloud's, it gives away one of the biggest twists of Final Fantasy VII. So you've probably already read it if you've already got this, but I just wanted to warn you. Nevertheless, let's get started. And of course, the first person we need to talk about is Cloud Strife. So of course this deck comes with the Cloud's Limit Break, and I'm kind of surprised that they call this the Limit Break deck, and yet it only comes with Cloud's Limit Break. So yeah, it's got several of his Limit Break moves on here. In Final Fantasy VII, I believe it's the only Final Fantasy that actually uses the term Limit Break, but in other games they do have super moves that fans of the franchise may refer to as limit breaks or limit break adjacent. They may be called trances or something like that in other Final Fantasies. So yes, indeed, Cloud is an ex-soldier, and his ability says haste. When Cloud enters, attach up to one target equipment you control to it. Whenever Cloud attacks, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. Then if Cloud has power 7 or greater, create 2 treasure tokens. So you're going to see in here how the reference of the number 7 very often, and well, it's very obvious because it's Final Fantasy VII. And yes, Cloud is indeed a member of the Soldier military program, or at least he is an ex-soldier. And on this Soldier military program card, it says, at the beginning of combat, on your turn, choose one. If you control a commander, you may choose both instead. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token, or put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 soldiers you control. So hey, Cloud counts as a soldier. So what exactly is the Soldier military program, and why is soldier in all caps? Well, it is indeed a military program created by the Shinra Electric Power Company. Think of these soldiers as being like special forces. However, these soldiers are also genetically modified using Mako energy. Mako is the lifeblood of the planet, and soldiers are bathed in it, which gives them their signature glowing eyes. Now, even though the public knows about Soldier, the process of creating an actual soldier operative are deeply held secrets of the Shinra Electric Power Company. The reason Soldier is in all caps is because that's just the way they decided to spell this program. There's really no reason. It's not an acronym, and it's not like you're supposed to yell it every time you see it. And of course, Cloud is most famous for having the Buster Sword, which in this case, the deck doesn't come with a Buster Sword, but it does come with a Hero's Blade, which is obviously a Buster Sword stand-in. Equipped creatures get +3/+2. Whenever a legendary creature you control enters, you may attach this equipment to it. So it is pretty cool that you can just attach this Hero's Blade to a legendary creature. So if you're able to get this on the field first, and Cloud the ex-soldier comes out, you can just automatically attach it to him, and that gets his attack power automatically to 7. So pretty cool there. The next person we're going to talk about is going to be Barret Wallace.
You gonna stand there and pretend you can't hear the planet crying out in pain? I know you can!
The Commander's deck comes with 2 Barret Wallace cards, and we're actually going to focus on his second card that he has, because it really does a good job of explaining sort of who he is. He is indeed the Avalanche leader, at least the leader of a splinter cell of Avalanche, as he's kind of had a falling out with the leaders of the rest of the Rebel Alliance. It is great that he's represented by a red mana and a green mana, as he is a rebel and he is fighting for the planet. You're going to see the red and green mana used a lot here, and I think it's very justified, as the entirety of Final Fantasy VII has a lot to do with the planet and rebelling against corporate overlords. He's a legendary human rebel with reach, which means he's got long range, and of course, yeah, he's got a gun for an arm. Avalanche, whenever an equipment you control enters, create a 2/2 rebel. So that's, once again, on the opposite side of the soldier card, you've got a rebel. I think that's pretty fitting. At the beginning of combat on your turn, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to target rebel you control. Hey, pretty cool, because once again, Barret is also a rebel. So, Barret is indeed the leader of an Avalanche sector, of an Avalanche cell, and this is Avalanche of Sector 7, which we have Wedge, Jesse, and Biggs as members of. They are menace, which means it takes more than 1 enemy to block them. Hey, that makes a lot of sense since, say, there's 3 of them. Avalanche of Sector 7's power is equal to the number of artifacts your opponent controls. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact they control, Avalanche of Sector 7 deals 1 damage to that player. This is kind of representative of basically Avalanche being the rebel cell and having to deal damage to the enemy who is bigger and more powerful, and honestly has more special gadgets and machinery on their side. So it's these guys' job to go in and sabotage this kind of thing, and so that is why we've got this sort of sabotaging, dealing 1 damage to the player anytime they activate an ability of an artifact. So that kind of makes a lot of sense right there. Well, one thing that they do in terms of sabotaging is Vandal Blast. Destroy target artifact you don't control, and Overload. You may cast this spell for its overload cost, and if you do, change target to each. So it'll be destroy each artifact you don't control. Danger is part of the job. Don't worry about me. So yeah, at the very beginning of Final Fantasy VII, they go on a bombing mission to destroy a Mako reactor owned by Shinra in the giant city of Midgar. And this is the aftermath of that, or perhaps it's the second bombing run. Either way, they are successful in sabotaging the reactor, which is draining the planet of its life energy to create basically electricity. It's kind of like a nuclear power plant in this world. Moving on, we've got Tifa, martial artist. Another legendary human monk, and indeed, she has melee. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn for each opponent you attacked this combat. She is a great martial artist, trained by Zangan as she was a teenager, and the rest of her card reads, whenever 1 or more creatures you control with power 7 or greater, there's that 7 again, deal combat damage to a player, untap all creatures you control. If it's the first combat phase of your turn, there is an additional combat phase after this phase. That seems pretty cool. So yeah, Tifa is known for being quick on her feet and, well, light on her feet as well. She also has limit breaks too, as does all of the main characters who are playable in this game. I decided to show you her lightning greaves, which really are just her red boots that she wears. I don't know that any particular item is actually called lightning greaves in Final Fantasy VII, but equipped creature has haste and shroud. It can't be targeted of spells or abilities. It costs 0 to equip as well. So yeah, I think that just kind of goes to show you, once again, giving her haste is just an example of her speed. She's usually one of the faster party members in the group. And of course, this seems like a good time to bring up this card right here, which is Clever Concealment. And basically you get to do something called Convoke, which is your creatures can help cast this spell. Each creature you tap while casting this spell pays for 1 colorless mana or 1 mana of that creature's color. Any number of target non-land permanents you control phase out. Treat them and anything attached to them as though they don't exist until your next turn. So basically they are concealed, they can't be touched, just like the enemy doesn't know where they are. And this is them in disguise. Now we're getting into a point where you may consider some of this information to be spoiler territory, and definitely the last thing I'll talk about is definitely spoiler territory, so hey, you've been warned. Next up is Aerith, the Last Ancient.
Right here, right now. I need to know I did everything I could.
When you first meet Aerith, it's kind of a secret. You don't know that she's the Last Ancient, you just know that there's something different about her. She's a human cleric druid with lifelink and raise. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If you've gained 7 or more life this turn, which would be incredible, return that card to the battlefield instead. Indeed, Aerith is absolutely a powerful mage as a cleric. She's a great healer, which is why they have Raise. Raise is an ability in Final Fantasy games that brings characters back from a KO'd status. Also, something you'll notice about Aerith is that she is definitely in tune with the planet. In Cultivate, it says search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, put one onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand, then shuffle. They say you can't grow grass and flowers in Midgard, but for some reason, the flowers have no trouble blooming here. Since Aerith is an ancient, she can do something that no one else can do, and that is pray. Only the ancients, only Aerith, can save us from Meteor. And well, we're going to talk about that next, because this is actually the shot of her praying at the Forgotten Capital built by the Ancients, also known as the Cetra. You can draw 3 cards, and this is essentially, I like this because Aerith is able to gain knowledge through her abilities that other people simply don't have, and of course drawing 3 cards is like drawing knowledge in Magic the Gathering, so that's pretty much what this represents. And then of course, in this scene right here, she is attempting to ask the planet to help her summon Holy Magic. Holy Magic is the only thing that can stop Meteor, which is the other ultimate magic, from destroying the planet and everything on it. Sephiroth has summoned the Meteor, and so Aerith must do her best to try and summon Holy. Permanents you control gain Indestructible until end of turn. If this spell was cast from exile, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you this turn. And you can foretell for a little bit for the same cost actually. And then Meteor, the ultimate destructive magic. Meteor deals 7 damage to each creature. If this spell was cast from exile, for each opponent, choose an artifact or land that player controls, destroy the chosen permanent. And you can foretell it for 5 to do even more damage, it looks like. Yes, Meteor has been summoned by Sephiroth and will either destroy the planet or create a huge wound, in which Sephiroth plans to use in order to ride the livestream and gain ultimate power. Once again, Holy is the only thing that can do that, and Aerith, the last living ancient, is the only one who can cast it. Now for the ultimate spoiler. This is the super spoiler territory. We're going to talk about the last card on this video, Zack Fair. Zack Fair is a legendary creature human soldier. So once again, this is another soldier that can be buffed by the soldier program. Zack Fair enters with a +1/+1 counter on it, and for 1 you can sacrifice Zack Fair Target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Put Zack Fair's counters on that creature and attach an equipment that was attached to Zack Fair to that creature. So this is a definite story point of Final Fantasy VII. You see, this whole card represents what Zack did for Cloud's Strife. He sacrificed himself to protect his good friend, and in doing so, Zack passed on the Buster Sword from himself to Cloud.
For the both of us. Both of us? My honor. My dreams. They're yours now.
Which is why you can equip one equipment that was on Zack Fair to the creature that you pass it on to. In passing on the counters from Zack to Cloud, this represents him sort of being, well, absorbed, his memories being taken on by Cloud, and Cloud using his memories to create, well, a false persona for himself in which he is a soldier and was involved in events that perhaps he shouldn't know about. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video explaining these Final Fantasy VII Magic the Gathering cards. If you like this, I hope you'll like and subscribe, and check out more to come involving Final Fantasy VII and other cards in the Final Fantasy franchise involving, well, Magic the Gathering. Thank you guys for watching. I'll check you guys next time.
Always on my mind.